Today is April Fool's Day. There is clown energy in the air. I can literally feel it dancing and jiggling and wobbling like a jelly out there. There's a sort of loose, fun electricity, and it's filling me with energy and joy and possibility. And in a week from now, CLOWNVERGENCE begins. So let's talk about it.
Welcome to the Clown Spirit Podcast. And here's your clowntastic host, Mr. Barnaby King.
Yes, in just over a week from today, so many clowns are going to be gathering together online for this glorious, momentous event, CLOWNVERGENCE. And that's what we're going to talk about today. In the registration form, there's a question, why clown, why now? And folks are invited to reflect on that question when they register for the conference. Now, these responses that I've got through have been absolutely incredible, and I would just like to read a few of them for you. Keep in mind, this isn't a selection of the best of them all or anything like that. This is just literally the last few that have come in. One person says, I'm going through a transformation of embracing my very joyful and silly essence that when aligned can meet pain with humor and also spread joy and aliveness. I want to embrace this clown aspect of myself after being very serious for much of my life. Another one says just, it's a soul passion I can't ignore. Another one says, the world is in desperate need of smiles and laughter. Merry pranksters forever. The next one says, it may be one of the only things to save humanity. And if not, at least she goes into extinction laughing. The next one says, clown spirit is calling. I guess I'm just curious about it. I feel this could be the way to release and embrace lots of emotions. And one more. I'm at my best when my trickster energy shows up. It's a very specific way of playing with people right at that edge of tension. 1 foot in the conscious and 1 foot in the flow of intuitiveness, dipped in from the unconscious. These are just a few of the really beautiful things that people have written, and every day I've been able to read these as they come in, and I'm just getting so much inspiration and excitement from everybody's different way of seeing clown, and yet there's something that connects all of these as well. I guess you could just call it the joy of connection. I'd like to talk to you today about CLOWNVERGENCE and my experience of it. On one level, CLOWNVERGENCE is a conference that I've been organizing, and I've been talking about it endlessly on the social media and emails, and you may have been catching some of that. I could talk about CLOWNVERGENCE forever in terms of the amazing teachers, artists, panelists, all the people that we have coming, and how heartwarming it has been to receive all of those contributions. I could also talk to you about CLOWNVERGENCE from the point of view of being an organizer of it and the tremendous amount of work and effort that it's taken to put it all together. The long hours, the endless small administrative tasks. I could talk to you about CLOWNVERGENCE from the perspective of my organization, Clown Spirit, and how it's really central to our strategic vision, which is to unleash as many clowns into the world as possible by supporting personal growth, community, and universal healing. But I don't want to talk to you about CLOWNVERGENCE from any of those perspectives. Today, I want to give you a more personal insight into how CLOWNVERGENCE has actually changed and affected my own ideas and my own state of being. Thinking about what to say in this podcast has been a great opportunity to formulate some new concepts and ideas about clowning, which is, of course, one of the reasons I do all of this. What has it been like to be me during this lead up to CLOWNVERGENCE? I've been feeling a lot of conflicting emotions. Excitement, But alongside that, quite a bit of anxiety. Will it go well? Will people appreciate it? What mistakes will we make? And are we making? How many people are going to register? And there's a bit of me that hopes and wants there to be more people involved. And there's a bit of me that feels disappointed when I don't get as many people registering as I would like. And a bit of me that feels pride and excitement when there's a sudden rush of people applying. And I'm really conscious of that response. A little bit like when you put up a Facebook post and you look back to see how many likes or comments you've got, and you feel that little rush of endorphins when a bunch of people like your post or give you positive comments. And then that kind of deflation when, our post just sits there quietly and nobody takes any notice. We crave attention. I should say, I'm trying to get more into the habit of saying I, when often I say we, because I want to take responsibility for my feelings and not assume that everyone feels the same. I feel a certain dependency on being approved of, being liked, and I've been aware of that very much all my life. I think this drive to bring people together into a community, whether it's Clown Spirit Village or Clownvergence, is something that I have seen in myself for a very long time. When I used to attend clown workshops with Sue Morrison, either as a student or as her assistant, I would often be the one after class who would gather people's phone numbers or email addresses and propose social gatherings, parties, or let's meet at such and such a place, and after class, let's get together. I needed that, but more than anything, I needed to be the organizer of that. I never enjoyed being the one who was at the social event but not the organizer. It was a way of making myself feel in control and more comfortable, to be the one who was the hub, the host, if you like. The funny thing is, often at such events, when the moment actually comes, I'm very quiet. I'm the shy one in the corner who's not talking to many people. I'm not a big social extrovert. I often feel uncomfortable in those situations. And yet, I love organizing those events, being the one that brought people together. And part of that is I love the compliments, the approval that I get from people, the gratitude. That kind of feeds me and serves me. What I've noticed here is that there's a difference between two different kinds of impulse or drive within me. One comes from my Barnaby identity, let's say. Perhaps it's my ego, wanting recognition, wanting approval, needing to be liked. And that drives me on to a certain extent to do these things. I'm not sure I'd be able to do them without some of that. But at the same time, I'm also aware of a deeper drive. We could call it my soul's mission or my essence mission. That is not about seeking recognition. It's really more about understanding that there's this value that I'm bringing, that Barnaby identity has something of value to bring to the world. And it's okay, in fact, it's good to allow Barnaby to do those things because of the joy and the benefit that it brings to other people. At that deeper soul essence mission level, I'm aware of the benefits of clowning and the need for something like Clown Spirit Village or for Clownvergence. I see that purpose as something valuable. But I need the Barnaby identity to go out there and do it. Now, when a Barnaby identity is out there doing it, I'm aware of the ego at play, right? I'm aware of the neediness and the seeking approval, the need for love. And I sometimes feel shame or resistance because of that. I feel like that's not a good motivation to do things. But then when I tap into the essence mission, I realize, oh no, this is why I'm doing it. I need the Barnaby there to do the doing. And the feeling of needing approval and wanting love is just always going to be there at some level. I can't get away from that. Some forms of work describe this as the distinction between our shadow and our light, or our gold. I do a form of men's work you may have heard of called the Mankind Project, and in that work we speak of shadow and gold, and I think this is quite a common terminology. And I might describe this kind of neediness, this desire for love, as a kind of shadow. It's something that comes from probably very early on in my life. I don't know exactly when. And in some ways it doesn't matter, but I hear it and I see it as a part of myself, as a voice, as a part. And instead of rejecting and judging that part, I am choosing to allow it, to even acknowledge it, recognize it, to value it, because it is what, at an early age, allowed me to get through difficult situations, to survive. And also now it's what drives me to do this work, which my soul knows is good work. But it is a kind of shadow. Something dark about it. It's the product of some kind of wound that is not fully healed. And doing a lot of these things in my life could be seen as an attempt to heal that wound. Now, the thing about shadow is that we say, as long as you keep it in view, shine the light on it, then it can't get too out of control and do too much harm. I think clowning adds a whole other interesting dimension to this duality, this binary of shadow and gold. The beautiful thing about the clown identity is that it knits together those two things. Because clowning is fundamentally about the shadow, about the darkness and the flaws that we have, that come from those deep wounds from our childhood or former lives or whenever. But it's also about finding that joy, that lightness and playfulness and just sheer exuberance, love, connection. In some ways, clowning doesn't distinguish between those things. It just sees it all as part of the patchwork of life. It's what the universe gives to us in this moment to experience. I've always wondered whether the shadow and the gold are inherent in the universe or whether they're just human creations. And that's a sort of side note or a tangential question I have that's not necessarily relevant here. But I'm curious about that. Where I'd like to go with this thought now is to extend the metaphor to think about clown as a creative practice and an artistic practice, as a kind of metaphor or analogy for how we work with these different impulses in our lives. In our life, we have, as I mentioned earlier, this deep soul essence, this mission. And then we have these sort of egoic identities, these things that kind of sit on the surface of our life and drive a lot of our actions. And if we're not conscious of those being just kind of part of that surface identity, we start to actually identify with them and we see them as who we are at our essence, when really we're not. We're something a lot deeper. When I do clown work, and I think this idea came from Sue, from my first clown teacher and mentor, Sue Morrison. When we clown and we create material for the clown, that material that goes into a clown turn or a show is not really the point. It's just an excuse. It's pretext for the clown to exist and be, more importantly, in relation to others on the stage and in the audience, right? In the space, wherever we are. The script is necessary. We need structure. We need a text of sorts, whether it's a physical or a verbal text. But the real reason we're there is for this beautiful moment of transformation and connection that happens between humans in the space of clowning, in a circle of people that we love and trust. And I see this a little bit like CLOWNVERGENCE itself. The topics of the panels and the workshops and all those wonderful things, all the content of the conference isn't really the reason that we're here, that we're gathering together next week. The real reason is to connect, to transform, to be in a circle of people who we can love and trust and who help us in being our best possible selves. The topics of the panels, all those wonderful things, clowns around the world, clown as a vehicle for releasing emotions, finding the funny bone, clowns and theatre, embodied practice in search of clown. All these wonderful panel titles are the pretext, like the script of a show. We need it. We need the structure. And it's deeply poetic, much of it. Beautiful. But it's just a pale shadow, really, a reflection of the real essence, of the real reason that we're here. So, am I saying that clowning itself is not really the point of CLOWNVERGENCE? Could we be just gathering to talk about anything? No, that's not what I'm saying. Because the point is, we are passionate about clowning. Clowning creates this special resonance between this particular group of humans. Clowning itself, in fact, is the container that holds us. And this is the new idea that has just sprung up in my mind today from this reflection on CLOWNVERGENCE and what it means to me. That clowning itself is a container. It's not the thing. It's a space in which we can connect. Clowning as a container creates a resonance, creates an energy field that holds us and energizes us. When I say us, I guess I mean me, but also all those who choose to enter into that energetic field of clowning. And I do believe that anybody in the world can be a clown, but I also believe that only certain people are ready. Only certain people feel the calling to become a clown. And it's only right that those people should step into that energy field. We shouldn't be forcing anybody else to. For those who do, it means something. Whether you wear a red nose or not, whether you put on a clown costume or not, whether you stand on a stage or not, whether you ever really perform or you just use clown practice in your everyday life. Whatever is true for you, if you're here, if you're listening to this, and if you're going to CLOWNVERGENCE, and if you're interested and curious and thinking about stepping in to a clown workshop of some kind, it means something. It means you're a clown. Yeah, it means you have a clown spirit. That you are resonating, vibrating with the clown energy. You are already part of that clown energy field. The events that I organize and the membership that I have is really just there to support that energetic field, to concretize it a little bit and hold your hand as you dance in that energetic field. And you learn what it means to put clowning, bring clowning into your life, which is different for everybody. So that's really what CLOWNVERGENCE means to me. And that's really why I do it. Yes, it's the drive for some kind of acknowledgement and approval, and I appreciate that need. But on a deeper soul essence level, I know that clowning is what we need. It benefits the entire world. And that it's difficult for many people. The people who feel the resonance and want to dance, they need some level of support, just like I do. Every time I open one of those emails and I see a new person is registered, I'm eager to read what they wrote to the question, why clown, why now? And every single one brings me some new awareness, some new joy, some new feeling of connection. Every single one adds to that overall alignment and vibration of clowning in the world. And I feel it growing and pulsing. And I want to be part of that movement. I want to do everything I can to expand, evolve, encourage that growth of clowning and that vibration in the world. That's why I do it. And that's what Clownvergence is really all about. So having said that, I hope that you will be joining us next week on April 10th, 11th, 12th and 13th for some wonderful panels and events and a lot of fun and a lot of connection. If you're listening to this and it's already past those dates, don't worry. You can still get access to the recordings. All you need to do is join Clown Spirit Village and you will get access to all the recordings from the Clownvergence conference. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast today. I hope you feel something new, maybe some new awareness that's crept in as I've been speaking. Please reach out, be in touch. I always love to hear from you. That's what keeps me going. Thank you so much for being part of this community. And please tune in for the next Clown Spirit podcast. Bye for now. And of course, as always, keep clowning.